Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am thrilled today to be joined by the wonderful Max Kaan, hypnotist, author, and professional global professional speaker, I should say. I know Max from Toastmasters, great friend of mine, and welcome to the channel, Max.
It's great to be here, Michael. Thank you so much for inviting me. I think your channel, Life Changing Stories, is quite wonderful. It's inspiring and it's giving people a lot of hope. And that's what we need more of today. So I'm delighted to be here. And I hope I can inspire and uplift one or two people. And I'll have done my job, I believe.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So Max, I know you're a hypnotherapist and hypnotist. Is there a difference between the two?
Well, when you use the word hypnotherapist, people associate you with the medical fraternity, and I'm in no way associated with the medical fraternity. I'm not a doctor in any way. So some people get the wrong impression or they perceive it differently when you use the word therapist. So some people will call themselves a hypnotist rather than a hypnotherapist. Oftentimes, a hypnotist is associated with the guy you see on stage. That's this guy here.
Yes.
And so it's really just a play on words. But hypnotherapists typically will be helping people with personal ailments, concerns, worries. Whereas the stage hypnotist, he'll be on stage using the medium of hypnosis for entertainment, which we need more of. We need
Absolutely.
more discussion. We need to be entertained and regally entertained, you know?
Laughter is the
And we
best medicine, right?
Sorry?
Laughter is the best medicine.
That's what they say. Ask Patch Adams, you know?
Yes. So you do a combination of both because I know you're on the stage and you bring laughter and joy and great moments to people, but you also help people with therapy. I know you've got a great smoking program, anti-smoking program, or to stop smoking. And is there a difference? Is the hypnosis the same? How does it all work?
You know what? At the end of the day, the phenomena of hypnosis is the same. The method and how it's used is different. And typically on stage, you don't have the luxury of time
Hmm.
where you can build up rapport and the trust and get a good feeling, and you can lull someone into hypnosis the way you can when you have them one on one. It's the exact same hypnosis. It's just done differently. The stage is more dramatic. The stage, it happens very quickly
Yes.
from a person being, let's say, fully conscious to in a state of hypnosis can take 3 minutes, 5 minutes maximum. If you really want to be slow that night, 5 minutes. Whereas in hypnotherapy, you can spend 20 minutes,
Hmm.
25 minutes lulling someone into a state of relaxation where you can then begin to access the subconscious as such.
Yeah. Well, I already feel myself getting relaxed.
Good. It's
So,
all in the tonality. It's all in the voice. It's all
yeah,
in
of
the
course.
way you speak.
Yes. Now, your programs that you do, your anti-smoking programs, how do those work? And which ones do you offer?
Well, you know what? For many years, the stop smoking program through the Max Way was by far the most popular. It was the biggest traffic. But you know what, Michael? Since COVID, and I hate using that word, but since that period of time, around about what, March 2020, I think it was, COVID came, stress, anxiety, and depression
Mm,
have like leapfrogged the smoking. And they are nowadays the main reason why people are coming to see me. And it's scary the number of people. And I'm talking about people from all ages, teenagers, people in their 20s, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, who believe they've had enough and they want to throw in the towel. And what I'm meaning by that is they're seriously depressed, some even suicidal. Some are eating their way into the grave because all they do is eat, 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 and try and assuage the feelings of despair.
mm.
And that all kind of blossomed, after COVID. And that's my main traffic today. And it's surprising. The smoking is still very, very busy. Obviously, I want to create a smoke-free world.
Yes.
Well, I can't quite do that because I need a few smokers. Otherwise, if there was no smokers, I'd have no business. Yeah.
Yes. What do you tell the people? I'm sure you get asked this question so many times, but I can't get hypnotized. What do you tell those people?
Well, when someone says that to me, and they do say that, you're absolutely right. They say that all the time. Oh, I can't be hypnotized, or it's impossible because I've got such a strong mind. And I say to them, who told you that? Or where did you learn that? And I seek more information from them. And then I ask them, what are you basing this statement on? If you've never been hypnotized, then how can you say you can't be hypnotized? What are you comparing it with? What are you comparing it to? What are you basing this premise on? And then they look at me with that blank stare, and that blank stare, they're already hypnotized. So I can jump right in there. That's a little bit abrupt. I wouldn't do that. But at that point in time, when their mind is split, when the conscious mind is split like that, that's the ideal opportunity for a hypnotist to gain access to the unconscious. So people say that, but they don't really know why they're saying that. Because if you've never tasted, let's say, apples, let's say a common fruit like an apple or a banana,
Hmm.
you wouldn't be qualified to say this is a good banana or a bad one, or I don't like bananas, or I'll never have a banana, because you've never actually tasted them. You have no experience of them. But that's what 90% of people do. They say they can't be hypnotized because they don't really know what hypnosis is.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. They
Mm.
don't know what it feels like. So they think, oh, I can't be hypnotized. And then when I hypnotize them and I ask them certain things afterwards, they look perplexed and puzzled when they think, oh, I can't remember that, or did I do that, or
Yeah.
did that really happen? And you see this more often times than not on stage. Now, you'll get a lot of guys coming up to you and saying, there's no way you can hypnotize me. Now, typically, stage hypnotist doesn't want to deal with people like that. So he'll say, well, that's fine, sir. You sit at your chair. Don't you volunteer? Nothing. But these guys insist on volunteering to prove to their wives or their girlfriends that they can't be hypnotized, and that
Yes.
hypnosis is a load of rubbish and it doesn't exist. And after the show, when they're watching it on their cell phones, they usually come and apologize. It's so funny. And profusely apologize. They can't believe, they say, Max, I'm looking at myself on the phone, but I just can't believe it. How did this happen? I didn't think that could happen. I can't remember anything. What did you do? I said, I didn't do anything. You did everything. And this is one of the secrets in life, Michael. We shouldn't hold ourselves back. We
Mm.
shouldn't say, we shouldn't say to ourselves that I can't do this or I don't like this if you've never actually experienced it. Far too many people rely on third parties. And there's nothing wrong with relying on third parties. Please don't get me wrong. There's nothing, it creates a shortcut, makes your life easy. But I say to people, you should experience it and then decide from your personal experience, this works, or this was nonsense, or this was rubbish, or this did not work, or this was enjoyable. And usually, if something works and something's enjoyable, if you're smart enough, you'll do it again,
Yeah.
because that's another secret of life. Find something that works and do more of it. But what do people do? They find something that works and then they abandon it in favor of let's find something else that works. Well, you don't really have to find the next thing that works. You found something that works, stick with that, use that, utilize that, and get going. Don't
Yeah.
waste your time spending another 5 years finding something else that works when you've found something that's working perfectly well. And of
Absolutely.
course, believe in the process, believe in the process, believe this actually works because on Monday I was biting my nails. Monday afternoon I did this self-hypnosis exercise. Tuesday I don't bite my nails anymore. It
Yeah.
works.
Yes.
So you don't need to go to the doctor. You don't need to put nail varnish on your nails to stop you biting them because you've stopped. Just believe it.
Yes.
Believe it and move on to the next. Move on.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I know you do such amazing work, and it's very powerful hypnosis, breaking down belief systems, breaking down patterns. But how did you get into it? Where did it all start?
It all started for me many, many years ago in Glasgow. In fact, I can remember the date. It was November. It was around about this time of the year, 1979. So now you know my age. I was 18 years old in 79. So now you know my age. Okay. And I was at a hypnosis show. I was at the Robert Halpern stage hypnosis show. Now, I enjoyed these shows. There's no doubt about it. They're funny. They're very funny and they're entertaining and they're very engaging. And that all those qualities appealed to me. So I was there one night and I decided, no, I'd been many times, by the way, but this one particular night, I decided I'm going to volunteer. And I volunteered for Robert Halpern, and I volunteered more with the idea of finding out if it was real or play acting or just messing around because I used to be quite skeptical. I used to be quite cynical and think this is not real because I could never believe how people could change like that and change so quickly. So I volunteered and we go through the usual induction, which you clasp your hands like this, you turn your hands out, and then you stare at your fingers. And he was telling me they were going to get very, very bright, and they did. And it became almost bright like the sun. And it was
Wow.
such a beckoning, it was such a beckoning, welcoming brightness
Yeah.
that I actually got the feeling that I went into the brightness,
Oh,
if that
wow.
makes sense.
Mm.
And now I'm standing on the other side of this brightness. I'm standing there and I'm looking at myself sitting there. Now, this is really weird, Michael, but
Yeah.
this was an experience that I had. Now, the person who was standing just felt wonderful. He felt so free. He felt like he could do anything. He felt invincible. And I enjoyed that feeling. So, anyway, come the interval of the show, because in those days it was like 2 hour shows with like a half hour, 40-minute interval.
Yeah.
Robert Halpern woke me up and he says, off you go. I'll call you after the interval. And I
Oh.
looked at him very strangely, thinking, what interval? You know. So anyway, I left the stage with the other people, and I went back to where my friends were, and they're all laughing, and they're laughing like mad, and they're saying to me, "Gosh, you're so funny." Well, I actually said to them, "Hey, what's so funny?" Because why are you all laughing? They said, "No, you're the funny one. The things you're doing on stage." Robert Halpern is actually using you for nearly everything because you're so funny. And I said, no. I said, I only went up there, sat down, and now he's told me to go off. They said, no, you've been up there like an hour already. Now,
Oh.
I looked at my watch, and I was wearing a bracelet type watch like this. So that's quite hard to take off and adjust the time. So I'm looking at my watch and I'm tapping the watch in utter disbelief, thinking, yeah, where did this last hour go? And then I realized, gosh, and I'm perspiring and my clothes are all loose. What the hell's been happening? And I always remember that I was standing there drinking a beer. And
Hmm.
the kind of friends I had in Glasgow, you couldn't leave your beer unattended because they would have drank it or maybe put something in it, like a cigarette butt or something like that. What we called cigarette butts, doubts, cigarette doubts.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I'm standing there drinking the beer, wondering what the hell has happened when a tune got played. Robert Halpern played the tune to start the second half of the show. Well, I just put my beer down and started running like an Olympic sprinter to
Wow.
get back on the stage as quickly as possible because I wanted to get back to my chair before anybody else. And then, of course, I wanted him to utter the single syllable word sleep. I knew, I knew as soon as I hear Robert Halpern say sleep, I'm going to go back into that lovely feeling of being totally free, not caring about anything other than I can do the things he's asking me or telling me to do. And
Wow.
sure enough, Robert Halpern appeared on stage with his cape. He used to wear a
Mhm.
little shoulder cape. He made a sweeping motion with his arm and his hand, and he uttered the word sleep, and wow, there I went into the land of hypnosis once again. It was absolutely wonderful. So I was like, I want more of that. I enjoyed that, and I realized something very important, that it was real. And
Yeah.
that was the thing that was quite profound. Hypnosis for me that night was real. It
Mm.
was as real as real can get, because we know reality is subjective, but it was very, very real. And it was real enough for me to embrace it, to
Yeah.
adopt it, and to start practicing and using it. Definitely.
Amazing. Wonderful. And then did you study with him or where did you go and study?
You know what? I studied with an old hypnotist called Arthur Riley, who used to work what we call the fringe, so the outlying areas. But
Okay.
I eventually did. I used to help Robert Halpern when he appeared at the Glasgow Pavilion. He used to come for 6 weeks at a time. I was like a stagehand, just throwing the onions at him for the volunteers who thought they were apples.
Yes.
So I learned a lot of stage hypnosis from Arthur Riley,
Hmm.
who was actually a better hypnotist technique-wise. Robert Halpern was a better hypnotist from a showman perspective.
Yes.
But Old Arthur had a brilliant technique. I mean, he used to just walk into a room and he would grab people, clear the working area. He referred to his stage area as the working area. Clear the working area. And he would say to people, you sit there. And you sit there. And before you knew it, he had like 10 people sitting who were going to be the volunteers. And that's quite remarkable. And you know something, Michael, to this day, and I'm talking like, what, 40 years later, 40 plus years later, maybe,
Yeah.
I've never used that particular technique. I've always relied heavily on volunteers from a verbal perspective. In other words, I would say, please volunteer.
Yes.
I've never used any kind of trick method or direct. I wouldn't say Arthur was using a trick method. The hand clasp one is the biggest trick. Never do that. But I wouldn't say Arthur was using a trick method, but it was certainly, what's happening here?
Yes.
What's happening? I'm about to be the star of the show. It was quite remarkable. And it was very, very bold. And as I say, I've never used that to this day, you
Wow.
know.
Wow.
Mhm.
And now you live and work from South Africa. How did you get here?
You know, when I came to South Africa in 1990, for what was supposed to be a 2 year contract, and I loved the place, and I've been here ever since. And I still have to pinch myself
Oh, wow.
because for the last 34 years, it's felt like I've been on holiday. And that's largely partly due to the weather. We enjoy great weather here. And, when you come from the UK, the weather is well, it's dreadful.
Uh,
Uh,
Different.
you,
Yes.
Even in the summer season, if you blink your eyes in summer, you might miss it.
Yes.
So, yeah, no, the weather gives me that feeling like I'm on holiday. And that's a great feeling to have, because that's one of my hypnosis sessions. Come to me and I'll give you the holiday feeling, because
Yes.
it's a great feeling when you're on holiday. You're detached, you're away from the normal stuff. Everything is seemingly new, and you're normally relaxed. And that's why we suggest to people take more vacations. And they'll turn around and say, oh, I can't afford it.
Uh,
Well, you can't afford to be sick and miserable and unhappy and overweight and everything else, but
yes.
they seem to manage that just fine. So, yeah, it's been 34 years in South Africa, and I genuinely love it here, even with all our uh, issues and concerns, which every country has, by the
Every
way.
country. Absolutely.
It's really a beautiful place. I love the people, I love the weather,
Hmm.
and yeah, South Africa is great.
Yeah, lovely. And you do sessions online. Is that different for in person?
You know what? I was always against online sessions, but again, I hate this, bringing up the COVID thing. I was forced to introduce that
Yeah.
during that time because it was the only way you could connect with people. But I'm a big fan of energy, Michael.
Hmm.
When I'm with someone, I can pick up on their energy. I can pick up what they're showing me and what they're not showing me. I
Yes.
can pick up on what they're trying to impress me with and what they're trying to hide.
Yes.
And I've got to admit that is lost in a Zoom session. Now, I know people say, but you can still see the mannerisms. Yes, I can. I can see you nodding your head now, and I can hear your voice clearly. But
Yes.
I'm not picking up that same energy that I pick up when I'm with someone. But yes, look, to answer your question, I do a lot of Zoom sessions, WhatsApp sessions, everything, FaceTime sessions, whatever medium,
Mm.
because it seems to be what people want. So you know the old story in business: to stay in business, give your customers what they want.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
I give them what they want.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
And hopefully they don't get as many distractions as well, because I'm sure you need an environment that's free from distraction and that's quiet.
you know what? It's a bit of a myth to say that to hypnotize someone you need this silence and all that. Silence does help, but the truly silent atmosphere or place would be like a soundproofed room, like a studio. And unfortunately, I don't have that here, and I don't think any other hypnotist or hypnotherapist uh, conducts their sessions in such an environment. But when you've got the Zoom sessions, normally dogs are barking, someone's calling the person, and you explain to them now, listen, for the next 40 minutes, it's us two, it's you and I, and we mustn't have any distractions. And you'll get them. I don't know if you get it too. Oh, just hold on. There's someone at the door. And
Absolutely.
they go.
Yes.
But that just tells me the kind of life that the living, that they're really buffeted from pillar to post by whichever way the tide is going or whichever way the wind is blowing,
Yeah.
and they have no internal compass or direction themselves where they can ignore these nuisances and these distractions and stay focused
Yeah.
um, on the job at hand, if you put it like that, or the task at
Yeah.
hand, or the goal at hand.
Yeah. In my work, it's more about there's absence of being present, just being here
Oh, very much.
in that moment, you know?
In the workplace, absenteeism used to be a big, big problem. Now they've got a bigger problem: presenteeism.
I love it.
Oh, God. They're there, but they might not be there. The companies will be cheaper sending these people home. Pay them full, pay them double, but keep them at the home.
Yes.
Oh, shame. Oh, shame.
On that, on that,
Yeah.
on that note, what is the message you want to get to people? What is the bigger message that you always like to tell the world?
You know what? I do adopt a philosophical view on a lot of things. And, I had an old Jewish friend, a lovely man, guy called Max Rod. He was a beautiful man. And Max used to always say to me, Max, one Max to the other Max, mind your own business. And I would look at him, and it was so pertinent then, and it's every bit as important nowadays to mind your own business. You know what, Michael? I don't know about you. I know you do a lot of coaching and you help a lot of individuals and businesses, but I find people come here with problems that in what they believe is insurmountable problems, and it's based on the fact that they're worrying or they're concerned about things that they can do very little, if nothing, about things that might be happening on the other side of the world, or things that they have no access to, or conspiracy theories that they've perhaps become interested in and now they've personally adopted them.
Mm,
And I don't know about you, Michael, but I blame social media for this, because if you go on social media, you seem to have the world now not at your doorstep anymore. You have it in the palm of your hand, and you've got to be very, very careful to have a protective shield where you don't let these things, you don't absorb these things, because if you do, you'll find yourself an unhappy worrying person. And of course, you will neglect your own business. And as Max said, mind your own business. So I tell people to start with themselves.
Yeah.
We cannot change the world. We cannot change our neighborhood. We can't change nothing if we don't change ourselves.
Mm.
And we have to start first and foremost, primarily by loving yourself.
Yeah.
And if you love yourself, you will see it in yourself. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is if you love yourself, you won't smoke 30 cigarettes a day.
No.
If you love yourself, you won't drink 2 bottles of brandy a day. If you love yourself, you won't be walking around with 100 kilograms more than you should be.
Mm.
So, don't you try and change the world or local politics. You leave those politicians alone. They're doing a fine job. They're doing the best job they can. You just get started with you. As Michael Jackson would say, with the man in the mirror.
And in the mirror.
Start with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clean up your own act.
Yeah.
And then you could
Yeah, I get blown away how involved people get in now the US elections. Nothing to do with us, but sure, the heat on who's gonna win, and just even everyday stuff, pop stars, arguments, and people getting involved in that. And it's like, what are they to you? How did you even get there? It's crazy.
absolutely, I agree with you 100%. It's drama and it's distraction.
Ah,
And it gives them something to do and it gives them something to comment on because their own lives are sadly very, very uninteresting. So they've got to talk and they've got to sound like they're an expert on, as you say, the US elections. And quite frankly, I don't really care who wins the US election. And it doesn't really matter to the rest of the world who wins
yes,
the US election. Your life's not going to change whether Donald Trump gets in or Ronald Reagan, if he gets back in, and he's dead. So he's not going to get back in. But I'm just emphasizing the point. It doesn't matter. But
yeah,
what does matter is not the US election, it's your personal state of mind. And you should be more concerned with that.
yep,
But as you said, Michael, they're more interested in things like that. And that's because there's no focus.
mm, mm,
They're aiming at the wrong target
yeah,
completely. They're miles off mark.
yeah,
But they enjoy it.
and
They
no sense
enjoy
of
it.
peace, right? No sense of peace.
No, peace comes from again from within, and you
Yeah,
create your own peace. And you create your own peace by realizing that you're insignificant. You're not going to change this world.
yeah,
They talk about leaving legacies, things like that. And I say to them, well, tell me about your legacy. And when I listen to them, it sounds noble, it sounds all worthwhile, but it's not going to happen. It really is not.
the best.
Life is too short.
Uh,
We don't live long enough to leave a legacy. We don't live long enough to do anything. We
yeah,
don't live long enough to do research, and we certainly don't live long enough to worry about anything. Because trust me, planet Earth is doing just fine. And the Earth will be going on millions of years after we are gone. It was going millions of years before we even got here.
yes,
So who am I to think, oh, I'm making such a difference? We like to think we're making a difference, but you've got to, again, and I'm going back to self, you've got to make that difference with
yeah.
yourself. Michael, you've met them all as well as me. Some of them talk the talk, and very few actually walk the
Oh,
talk.
definitely, yes.
Separates the men from the boys, and you can spot them a mile away from the first word. Oh, here we go, regurgitation, textbook. Uh, and I'm not criticizing them because some of them are very, very good, as you know. But
Mm,
start with self, I
absolutely.
believe.
Mind your business and focus on yourself, and get that journey going into just completely loving yourself and being present and aware. I think that's beautiful.
Absolutely. And, not from a narcissistic perspective or not from a selfish perspective at all, but I think it's paramount. I think it's really, really important to have a healthy self-love. The great Irish playwright Oscar Wilde said it beautifully, and he said it in one sentence, and I think he said it better than anybody else could ever say it. And that was, to love one's self is the beginning of a lifelong romance. Oh
Oh,
my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps.
wow, me too.
Goosebumps
Love
about
that.
that. It's beautiful.
Hmm.
But what is everybody doing? Everybody wants somebody else to love them.
Yep.
And they're waiting for somebody else, and you're not going to find it because it's not going to happen
Yep.
until until you genuinely love yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been so great talking with you, and I'm sure we can carry on for forever.
Well, I
So
hope so.
yeah, definitely. So I will let everyone know about how they can contact you in the description below. But it's just
Please,
maxkaan.com. That's your
that's my website. Yes.
website.com, and you can contact Max through that and go see one of his shows. You'll be blown away. And yeah, as you mind your own business, get on with your life of loving yourself and really making the only valuable change you can make to this world. And that is by getting yourself in order.
Absolutely. And Michael, please give them my cell phone number. They can WhatsApp me, contact me directly.
Oh, that's
And yeah,
thanks.
so please make that available too, sir. I have nothing to hide. I'm not shy. So let these people contact me. And, I do a lot of telephonic support free of charge. So they can contact me via WhatsApp or the usual mediums,
Yes,
Instagram, Facebook, all that.
yes.
But yeah, make my contact details known, sir. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And it's been a pleasure talking with you, Max, and everybody. Until next time, go to our website, lifechangingcourses.co.za, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.